let's move on now to the Seattle Seahawks in our key player series. And we are focusing on Geno Smith and his 2023 performance that is coming up. And before we break down why he's the key player on the overall success of the Seahawks this season, be sure to subscribe to the channel and ring the bell if you have not already. Ryan and I, we have a bunch more content coming out in the 2023 training camp, preseason, and also weekly prediction videos throughout the entire 2023 season. And if you want to get notified when those videos come out, be sure to subscribe to the channel and ring the bell. And Ryan, let's get into it here. So
let's do it.
This one to me, honestly, wasn't that difficult to come up. But like when we got to Seahawks, as we were going to pick on the player we really want to focus on, it was Geno Smith. It is what he did last year was amazing. I hope he does it again until they face the Falcons. But I mean, for him to have the season that he had, 4,200 yards, 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, it'd be a complete kind of shock to the entire NFL. And really give kind of this franchise hope, thinking that they were on like a couple-year rebuild. Now they were able to bolster up the defense and then also still get Jackson Smith and Jigba to then be good now and also prepare for the future whenever they move on from Tyler Lockett. They also then are giving him weapons, bolstering up the running back room. They bolstered up the offensive line, which started to play better in the second half of the year. This whole team's getting better, and it's we all know what those guys can bring to the table, especially DK Metcalf, Kenneth Walker, Tyler Lockett as well. It's going to be, can Geno Smith have another year like how he did last year? And I hope he does, but in his age 33 season, there have been a lot of one-hit wonders in the NFL, and he deserved the contract that he got. But for them to be successful again, he's going to have to replicate that last year's performance.
No, yeah, definitely. I think if he replicates last year's performance, then they'll be in a really good situation. I think he could actually improve. I think that all comes down to how well Jackson Smith and Jigba assimilates into the offense with Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf and crew. I think it's also going to be really interesting. This offensive line should be a good bit better. And this running game with Kenneth Walker, and then they drafted the kid from UCLA, Zach Charbonnet, yeah. And so, that's a really good duo, and both of those guys are in their first and second years, so they should be pretty young. They don't have a lot of miles on them. So I really like what they have going forward in this offense, and I think Geno Smith is in a prime spot to continue doing what he did last year.
Absolutely, yeah. And even then, too, it's not going to be hard for this team to make the playoffs, just at minimum. No. And so I think, though, with everything going on in San Francisco, they did lose their defensive coordinator. They lost some guys on defense as well. They did lose their right tackle also in San Francisco. There's a lot of question marks coming up. Also, to their quarterback situation. There's a lot of question marks coming up with San Francisco coming into the offseason or coming into the 2023 season. I think the Niners are still going to be good. I probably, as of right now, still have them as their favorite. But the Seahawks have
a close race.
It's a close race when they have a lot less question marks. Like their question mark is what we're talking about now.
Yeah.
Can Geno Smith repeat? For the 49ers, the question mark is who's going to be their quarterback.
Who's their quarterback? Yeah.
So we know what everybody else can do, and we know what they can bring to the table. I think Jackson Smith and Jigba was an awesome pick. I think he's going to fit in perfectly. He's absolutely a guy that is going to I think him and Geno are going to sync up immediately, especially if we're talking about replicating last year's performance, a guy that can get open easily and is the most elusive receiver in this year's draft. That is going to help his performance. But you have that quick check down guy. He's going to open things up for DK Metcalf. He's going to open things up for Lockett. And it's just going to open everything up for this entire offense. So it just, can he also produce? Can he just do the same thing he did last year, which is a hell of a lot easier said than done. That's why we're here on a podcast and not actually playing on the field. But I think he can do it. We were shocked at his performance last year, but I love seeing stories like this, the guys who are just staying in the league, keeping their head down, keep working hard, and now they have this opportunity, and he's making the most of it. So look out for the Seahawks if Smith is able to keep this performance up, because I think they can go really far, especially with how well they drafted this year.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then the last thing I'll say on this is I think you look at this defense too. Devon Witherspoon with the 5th overall pick. They brought in Draymond Jones, right? Like this defense could be really, really good as well. And so I think that's going to help them go even further. But I like what the Seahawks have going on.
Yeah.
So.
Well, especially too, and just my final note, adding on to that.
Yeah.
With his defensive line getting better, you're playing 4 games against arguably 2 of the worst teams in the league, in the Rams and the Cardinals. So who have weak offensive line. So you're already probably looking at minimum a 4-0 record against them. Maybe 3-1. Don't want to put like too much out there. So it's just going to give more opportunity for them to improve on their 9-8 record. Let's say they split against San Francisco. Like there's a lot of good reasons to be optimistic in Seattle right now, and also to be Geno Smith to be like, everybody here is supporting me. I just got to go out and play.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's going to wrap up the Seattle Seahawks and Geno Smith episode there. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe and leave a comment down below on what you think of Geno Smith's second year in Seattle. You think it's going to be just as good or better than the first, or do you think he's going to take a step back after he got paid? Let us know down below. And on that, we will see you guys next time.